But they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. Yep, got a couple more minutes. We just get set up. We're gonna get right into it. Cause ain't nothing to it but to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Well, what is it? 8 minutes and we get started. We just jumped on. Yep. Peace, brother. Peace. How you doing? Yeah, I'm good. I'm at the house. Right. Some of them still alive, but you know how that go. Yeah, we talked about that in our class. The third reach. Yeah. That. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yep. I'm at the house. Yep. I usually try to do about like 3:30 when I make it home. 'Cause I usually get here about like 2:15 when I get off. Peace, everybody. Just getting set up. So be patient. We'll have a good day today, Friday. And I know we got a scheduled book reading at 6 p.m. AZ time zone on our Temple and School YouTube channel at Burning Bush Tabernacle, Science Temple and School. But I wanted to go over this few topics. I had the chance to speak to some people, and I said I'm always come back and share this information with my followers and with a lot of my people in Flint, Michigan. I like to share this as things is going on so we can ask ourselves some questions. And you can take your power back. Because it's always the people. So I got a couple more minutes and we're going to get right into it. So, 1 second. Oh, man, I got that sitting on there. Oh, no, man, it's on. Okay. second. Yep. 2 more minutes and it's going down. Almost ready. Yep, it's gonna be a good one. What do you say? Somebody said you want to share it. Yeah, they should. Peace, 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 peace. I just got 2 things going on. I got my tea on. I got about 50 seconds left, and I'm gonna go cut it off. We're gonna get started. We're gonna have a good conversation today. Do my brothers and sisters really know the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment? Do you know what white bylaw really consists of? Because see, we know so much about things that's irrelevant. We know so much about the wrong things, and we can't agree who we are. That's the thing I tell us. We have to agree, synchronize. But do we know what the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment consist of, and what does it mean? And reconstruction laws. And do we know what white by law consists of? The legal construction of race. All right, yep, it's almost done. Yep, it's done. Probably want to just turn it on low. Let's let it simmer down a little bit. Yeah. Now put it on, just put it on low. Give me 1 second, family. Yeah, let's keep it on low. Yeah, because I want all the turmeric and stuff to come to the top. Yep, and then we put that ashwagandha in it and a little bit of that spirulina and then mix it all up and then keep it on low. Yep. Yep, that's the day up. Sorry, everybody. I was doing 2 things at once. One of my friends got a little virus, and I was making up a concoction for him with the pine needle. He gonna get all that out of him. He gonna sweat that out. He'll be better the next day, for sure. For sure, bro. You'll be all right. Promise you that. But yes, I hope everybody having a good day on this holy day, on this beautiful Friday. It's a beautiful day out here in sunny Arizona. The sun is shining. Hope everybody had an amazing and productive day. Hope everybody spread love to those that love them. And I hope everybody accomplished some things that they wanted to accomplish in their life today and continue to move forward to the things that we know we can do as a collective group. And like I say, to my brothers and sisters, everything is possible. And don't let no one belittle you and tell you that you can't do everything. You can do everything, and we can do everything. If other people are doing those things, we can do this. So I want to tell my brothers and sisters, when God and man comes together, there's nothing that we can't do. But I'm going to always come back around the corner with topics, because these topics are so important for the misnomer black man today, especially when we're dealing with politics and who we are as a people, and with all the confusion. We have to be correct how we move. I tell my brothers and sisters, that's just the way it is. If we know right from wrong and we can research and study, we have to be correct and lawful in all our movements. We can't be arbitrary when doing things. And we can't have the identity as a slave or as a Negro, someone begging for something. I'm not here to argue with no one religious perspective, but when I talk about the melanated brothers and sisters, we have to know who we are. We can't operate with this black stuff no more. We have to have the conversations about law and policy. We have to understand about, okay, well, when people want people votes, then what's the mission? What's the agenda? What is a black vote? Because according to science and law, black is death. See, when I deal with different nationalities, and I'll just use European, Albion, Trelodite Jews, whatever you want to call it, they know their bloodline is maybe Anglo-Saxon or whatever else, or Bolivian, Bosnian. But a lot of times when they walk out the house, they'll say they're a Jew. We can't agree to who we are because we have a lot of our own kind, you know, that promulgate that African, that slave stuff. And then you even have a lot of Moors that's confused, that go around and call themselves some sovereign citizens or some foreign national. And that's an oxymoron. I'm an American. No such thing as a foreign national. Just like when these Moors talking about expatriating from the de facto government, that is asinine. It's so many people in the world that's trying to get to the Americas, and these retardo fardos talk about they want to leave the Americas, where you have your religious freedoms and a person that have nothing can become something. Look at all these different nationalities of people coming from dictator places and coming here, losing their lives or sending their kids here, sacrificing themselves. Look at these people that came here with nothing, and all these misnumbered black people want to be on welfare and government assistance. If welfare and government assistance, that's the government. That's not pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. I see empresses on the internet talking about, oh, Section 8 is open, and that's lazy. We're supposed to be a community because slaves only get things given to them. We're talking about human rights. We're not talking about civil rights. I talk about human rights. I talk about constitutional law. And our scholars, our educators, our preachers, our teachers, they won't talk about it. They talk about all the other stuff. But let's talk about some things that's universal. If everybody say they educated, or all these people that say they fraternities, when they talking this, they black and they proud, and then they say they know law, and all these lawyers that's so-called melanated, and I'm gonna tell you that they lying. I'm gonna tell you it's nothing good about being identified as black in the courts. Nothing. According to science and law, black mean death. Yes, black is beautiful, but black is not a nationality. Yes, black is beautiful, but black is not a nationality. This phone right here, this is a black phone case. This is an adjective. This phone case is black. This phone case, I'm teaching all the babies need to know this. When you get the 1828 Webster Dictionary, you look up and see what an American is. It's the copper-colored races found here by the European. So why do you think you black? Somebody can't, you couldn't even explain that with proper sense. According to science and law, black means death, civil mortis. It's no black land. And then when it's no, somebody tell me what national connected to black, because you can go to the continent of Africa and those people don't identify as no black. That's a misnomer. Do we know what I'm saying? See, we haven't been educated the right way. Forget all this stuff on these videos with these fake sovereign citizen Negroes acting like they got some magic spell. No, I'm an official. I don't rock with none of that goofy stuff. I'm telling you facts. And then I'm telling you a lot of stuff that's wrapped up in masonry. It's your own brother and sister that's lying to you. The Negro, preacher, teacher, person that's spreading lies, religions, the European, the Albie, the trailer like don't have that much power. Understand, the only time a devil or a damn vampire can do something to you is you let him in. I keep telling everybody I'm a ghostbuster. Not afraid of no ghosts. I'll give my life for what I believe. With no problem. Already done it. I live like a dead man already. I tell people this why. I suffered so much. I'm supposed to be where I'm at. I'm supposed to be where I'm at. What we talking about? The only people that ain't just successful in our life, there's no drug dealers and those dumbass basketball players. After their basketball day's over, they got to work for the man. Or there's no community development. I'm talking about coming back and building. But we have to know who we are as a people. Not worried about nobody else telling me what it ain't. I sit down with, no, I'm not going to sit down with anybody. What I'm saying is I've already done it in academia, in all spiritual houses. And when I come to my people and I say, when people come to us with that black stuff, they want us to sleep. When they come in with voting and politics, listen, I tell people, do you know what politics is real all about? Republican and Democrat. What do you know about it? Because when they get your vote, what's the agenda? What you mean, Sheik? Exactly. It's no agenda. So then you need to vote on law and policy or get the right person in and everybody stand behind them and we can be accountable for our communities. But we have to know who we are. And we're not Negro, black, and colored or African American. We're not. There's no way possible. Our kids should be going around talking about we some black men, we some black this. Our kids should be going around that. We know so much about basketball players. Well, LeBron James do this. And okay, but what about us? We got our own brother that's on that level. All we got to do is put our funds together. We can have our own thing popping and nobody can stop us. Because everything I'm saying is precedent. Well, they ain't teaching us our kids this in school. Okay, they're supposed to. I should be teaching it to them. I should be teaching it to you. We should be all staying together, turban out, fez out, kufis out, wearing our headdress. If we say we the followers of Yahshua, if we understand our chiefdom, if we know who we are in our community. Talk about you GD, though, this growth and development. A prophet and an angel come from amongst your own people. A prophet and an angel come from amongst your own brother, your own sister. You know his mama, his daddy, his family. That's what a prophet and an angel is. Who? Someone that's done the same things that you've done and gave his or her life to the higher understanding. That can relate, because I love my people. I reach my people. I touch my people. I got to go where they are. What's the use of a doctor if no one's sick? What's the use of me having a whole bunch of money and I move to Beverly Hills and I don't have my temple in the city for I can reach my people? If I die in the city, oh well. My brother was murdered in the city. My baby brother killed Jelani Goodman Bay. I give my life to what I understand. I need my brothers. I need my brothers that suffer just like me. That's what make us strong. I'm telling you that the kids need us. We be thinking about somebody going to give us, ain't nobody finna give Negroes no job. Our understanding and our dollars, the religious laws we tax them for the federal government is what we can do to proceed and build our own infrastructure and pay ourselves. Brothers need to come down and sit down and listen to what I'm talking about. I got the blueprint. I got the house, the furniture in it. All we got to do is come live in it, brothers, and stand on it. You act with a calm voice, what were you called before the Civil War? Moors. And if they don't want to agree with that, Amazigians. You're not a Negro, black, and colored, or African American. You're not a slave. That African transatlantic slave trade didn't happen like that. I showed y'all yesterday in the One World Tartarians. So who's lying to you? Who's want to talk about we black and we this and black businesses and black? According to science and law, black means death. Black is an adjective. Let's deal with it. A lot of this stuff is wrapped up in Freemasonry, just like in Black Mason, in Black Masonry, and when you have these so-called Muslims and these so-called Masons supposed to be one, well, why they all separate? Why you got Prince Hall Masonries? Why you got these Negroes that's 32 degrees in meteorology? That's where water freezes. That's snowman wisdom. And they don't even tell you about the fez. You will never see them wearing the fez. And if you do see them wearing the fez, their tassel is pinned down. It ain't the same size. Their wisdom is limited. And they say that they a widow's son. And the European Mason will tell you that he or she is a son of a Muslim. Do you understand what I'm saying? So who's playing you? Who's playing you? Who's playing you? Not the European picking your shit up and rocking it and agreeing with you. What? That you say you a Negro. That you a slave. That you came over here on some boat. You see? When I ask people, what's the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15? They have no idea. What's the religious rights of the indigenous people? No idea. House Joint Resolution 75? No idea. No idea. Was the Constitution ever abolished? I don't know. Was the Dred Scott Law? Black has no standing in law. I don't care what you say today. Black has no standing in law. Hell, that was on Jeopardy. And when I talk about this, it's a vast distinction from this comedic science, this connecting God and man and war, Freemasonry, between Western Freemasonry, usually called Freemason. You know, I like to say old time Masonry, but true Masonry, as originally developed by God men of Africa, you know, was designed by God men of Africa, was designed as a ladder which climbed from the finite to the infinite heart of the falling humanity back to the heart of the Creator. When I say the closest place to find God, Allah, is in your heart. These holy instructions became our way of life, not something that we do on Sundays. This is a 24/7 life for masterminds like myself and others. But carnal men reduced it to a spiritual thing, you know, something that you do on the weekends. We talk about the temple of the perfected man. And no disrespect, when European, when Albion, when Trailer Dykes pillaged the universities, the temples, and the lodges of the ancient Egyptians. That's why they make the movies called Tomb Raiders. They won't call them home people coming to their place. They call them Tomb Raiders. What were they doing? Raiding the tombs. Duh. They stole all kind of everything they can see. Collectively, these sacred pathways are called Solomon's Temple. But they built on top of it. Later, they stole tools, the symbols, the rituals were used to build the Roman Catholic, the York, and the Scottish Rite Order, and they used against their African victims. See, people know what I be saying, but it's our only brothers and sisters that's lying to us. The Western orders now beehived into different orders called the Illuminati. And when you hear that, the first thing Negroes do is get scared, but I say we are the enlightened ones. I know I'm the enlightened one. I am the illuminating one. We're going to illuminate all the bull crap. We're going to put light on all the bull crap. We're going to remove the veil of all religious dogma, all of it, historical dogma. Why? Because that's what we're supposed to do. It would be nothing but a game for cavemen. Cavemen. How can a caveman tell a God man something that already had water, that knew mathematics, and the person say they a caveman and they grew up in the cave? Well, how can they have any more intelligence than you? I'm not arguing with no caveman. Do you understand what I'm saying? And if all the African valuables, including the crescent, the moon, the scimitar, the fez, were removed, nevertheless, when Freemasonry is used in this context, I'm referring to the crime as Western Freemasonry. Understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, because we already had our science. This is our science. And when I say ours, the enlightened ones, the God men like myself and others with the degrees that can come back to their community and raise our brothers up. You don't got to join none outside yourself. You don't got to take no oath to no bull crap. The most devout Masons that I always talk about a Freemasonry, a god made from certain European men who they self-serve religiously. Freemasonry, as one of the most powerful gods of Europe, is the source from which a lot of, no disrespect, European males drew the strength to give themselves the title white. This is what you got to know. White is accepted as normal and often understood as proper when Europeans are being expressed. And it's no disrespect. But what does the title Satan gives himself? You know, God. We could talk about it. We could talk about it. And a lot of NBC's colored people call Europeans their God. No disrespect. No disrespect. The purpose of what I'll be talking about when I say I have to contextualize it. Why? Because I love me. I'm not going to let nobody tell a story of something that I'm a part of and then get upset when I give my perspective and my understanding, because truth has no sides. This is to bring life in the unconscious. This is a resurrection. Trying to put something in the psyche of us nobles. You got flowers?
Yeah.
But to exhume our bodies whole, as a people, intact, as a nation. And this is for the masterminds. And it's always the conquest of that illusionist obstacle between dormant life and the certainty of resurrection. This is what I'm telling y'all, man. This is what we got to do. We got to come up out that tomb. We got to come up out that shallow grave. In the Bible, when you see the killing of Hiram Abiff, the widow's son, I don't want to stay too far in that, because I want to give this perspective of who we are. But a lot of this stuff is wrapped up in masonry, and your brothers and sisters that's Masons not going to tell you. I'm telling you what I know for a fact. When you see that acacia tree in front of that tomb, that's where they buried you. I'm telling you. And that acacia tree is indigenous to Africa. Let me break a little something down for you. In Freemasonry, the coffin is showcased as emblem of mortality. Now watch this science. I'm going to give it to you. And then go ask your dad or your uncle. That's a Freemasonry or Prince Hall. All they're going to do is lie. But the prefix mort always relate to death. The word mortality refers to human death on a mass scale. You know, like war, disease, catastrophe, genocide. The West African God man, who civilized Spain, Italy, Portugal for 800 years, was the keeper of the ancient mystery system of God and man. His infinite wisdom is the true tools which build Solomon's temple. The lodges of Western Freemasonry used the coffin to conceal their murder of the West African God man. The sprig of acacia, a tree indigenous to the continental Africa, is a Masonic tombstone, now marking the grave of the first man formed in the human flesh to indeed be African. Big facts. An upright 5-pointed pentagram denotes Morocco as his exact West African jurisdiction. Morocco was the capital of the old Moorish Empire, you know? And when I show y'all different coffins in Masonic history, when I do this, I show y'all Hiram Abiff. I show y'all it represents a man, you know? When they display the murder weapon, which was the setting maul, used to render the final blow to Hiram Abiff. And others show the very shovel of constitutional laws used to bury him in the northwest shallow grave. See, it's all a stupid little riddle, but it's biblical too. You can see it. That's why it was always death of the misnomer Black Messiah, always. And your own brothers and sisters that's preaching and teaching is a part of it, especially if they Freemasons. That's why I told you, I'm bringing the keys to my brother, just like our prophet to my brothers, just like our prophet did. Although dead, he was trained to walk around as what? Negroes. When I say you physically alive but spiritually dead, we walking around as Negro, black, and colored people, but never realize ourselves as God. How can God never create no Negro, black, no color, or African American, no slave? Didn't he say that we made in the image of God's? I keep telling my brothers and sisters, who told you that you some slave? Who told you? Who? Then that's a contradiction of what God created us. I keep telling you, we don't have no Neanderthal blood in our DNA. Not the misnomer black man. Sorry. You can go on with that. You see? The fiend existence of Hiram would never enable him to rise from the world's most secret massacre, whole intact, as one nation, bearing one free national name. I hope my brothers following me. I hope y'all follow me with that. I can be in that whole subject for so long and raise us up. Especially I know brothers that's Prince Hall Masons, that's preachers, that's from my city of Flint. They'll just get up there and tell you some of the outlandish stuff. Right, because they already took an oath. They have a potentate. The Bible says you don't take no oath. So what are you saying? I told you, now brotherhood is something good. We don't take no oath. Who you taking an oath to? And then if they Freemasons, then it's a level that they should know, because my European Freemasons know. Go on my YouTube page and see where my European colleague, that's a Scottish Rite Mason, giving credit to Noble Drew Ali on his 135th birthday. But you will never see a black Prince Hall Mason doing it. You will ask them about Noble Drew Ali, they'll act retarded. Yeah, but all European Masons know. Is it that ironic, huh? All first century writers, Peter Lambert Wilson, wrote The Sacred Drift, Peter Moon, they all know about Hakeem Bey, the European, all of them know that wrote the Moorish Paradigms, huh? But none of our brothers and sisters that's wearing the fez in secrecy and clandestine, they don't know nothing about Noble Drew Ali, huh? And we're going to listen and let all these perpetrators today with all this criminal sovereign citizen stuff act like that what the prophet was teaching. And it's not. Because we have a state booklet and everything that can just destroy all the foolishness that you see on the internet in 1.2 seconds. Don't even take that much time. And everybody know I'm telling the truth. Because religions plus slavery equal Freemasonry, if you stay on this context. Because 1460 to 1492 through 1555 to 1619. And you see how now they try to push that 1619 theory bull crap. I destroyed that in academia at GCU. I did an oral lecture. You can hear a pin drop. I said, you can't come with the fake theory with me. Because I'm telling you, I'm coming with the Trump. I'm coming with Trump plays. So after I get done talking, you can't come and revert and backtrack. Why? Because you're going to look like a liar. So all you can do is just stand up and give an ovation. You can't come back with nothing after I Trump and showed you where you got your lie from. You can't get up there and defend yourself with a lie. People are going to be looking at you like, but you know what you're saying is a lie. You can't defend that. The enslavement of the Moors was a religious issue. Remember I told y'all yesterday about the dumb diverses, the papal bull? Research this stuff. The Moors, the Jews ruled Spain for 700-800 years. Who you think they were? Research the dumb diverses and the papal bull. Research it. It was supported by the Jews with their Torah, enforced by the Muslims with their Quran, and all entities under the cross. From the Roman Catholic popes, Vaticans, to the Christian Church of Europe. King James I solicited literary expertise of Shakespeare. So his version of the Bible would endorse slavery as an act ordained by God. As for the business ends of these three great religions, the Muslims supply Africans for the slave trade. The Jews tax their interest, earn on their investment, ships and shackles, franchises, and Christians use their chattel for free labor and main producers for raw and finished products, which profits went back to the church, the synagogue, and the mosque. That's why they don't want them priests to be married. I'm telling y'all, man. And we don't understand this. And we ain't going to use the same power. Our prophet said he going to leave the European, the Albany, the Trailer here long enough to show you how to build a nation. I'm showing my people how to build a nation, and we still don't fall in. That's why we don't have nothing. We use our tax dollars, and that create millions in one calendar year. That's how. And we have infrastructure, and people hold me accountable. That's how. Done deal. And everybody that has skills, there you are. You the good for your community, and you'll be making an income. Why? Because we'll be able to do these things. You got to understand, we got to get behind something, or we'll fall for anything. This marked the beginning of today's economical development on a global scale. From 1619 to 1774, that was nearly 400 million. That was the inhuman and the barbaric genocide of the African Moors, reached an unprecedented proportion. In the 300 years, nearly 4 million indigenous citizens of Northwest and Southwest Africa were kidnapped, enslaved, or had otherwise suffered. And suddenly around that time, the Revolutionary War, the church virtually had no more use of the need for Judaism, Northern Islamic connections, or their connections with Haram, the Masonic code name for whose body now lay in the northwestern grave. Y'all know that. Africa became the widow, and these Masons can talk about they some widow son. Africa became the widow when her son no longer remembered her husbandman. These three Rufins, just like the three Stooges, these three Rufins in your Bible, Jabal, Jablum, and Jablim, it's in your Bible, became the fathers for Freemasons, notorious Jablo, Jabla, and Jablim. Hey, baby.
Oh.
These three Rufins I spoke about previously. Remember, y'all, we setting the precedent. Your own brothers and sisters lying to you. Let's stand up and arise. They told you kumbaya mean come by here. And you ain't never researched it. Kumbaya, stand up and arise. When you get the lexicon, come by here and do what? Tie my shoe? Stand up and arise, brother. Stand up and arise. That's what this all about. See, the widow's son is fake. You see how these Masons that lie to you, and then brothers that you know, oh, I'm a Freemason, I'm a Freemason. They gonna lie to you. I'm 99 degrees. I'm 99 degrees. So they ain't gonna come with no truth. So why you want to be a snowman? See? And if it's something so good, well, why a secret? Because ain't nothing secret with me. It's sacred, but ain't nothing secret with me. Nothing. Watch this. The widow's son, that's a myth made from the minds of Western Freemasonry and locked in secrecy. And then your own brother will come with that. I'm a widow's son. Really? As most lies originate from some degree of truth, or as most jokes are founded upon realities in life, brothers and sisters, likewise, nearly all European Masonic rituals, signs, tools, symbols are diluted reflections of African originations. I can show you all the signs and symbols on artifacts. I've been showing people this forever. I have a full library with over 1 million books and documents. I have databases all over. The so-called widow son is no exception to the fundamental human principles. Watch this. In European Masonry, in Negro Masonry, which is dead, in Black Masonry, which is dead, in Prince Hall Masonry, which is dead, the widow son is descriptive of the Western African God-man, whose code name is what? They won't even tell you. Haram Abeth. Haram Abeth, the widow son. That's a generally code name. Like Num de Plums, you know, in the military, we got to use a code name or a covert name. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Just like these liars that tell you African was named after a European. I destroyed that in academia at GCU in the African American department, and all the students was looking back at the professor like, I'm like, yeah, they just telling y'all this bull crap. Code names used by secret societies, governments, military, even good thinkers to conceal true identities of operations. You know, when I said nom de plums, trickle down to hoi polloi, you know, nicknames, aliases, AKs, you know, stage names, or in writing, I call them pen names or pseudonyms. A lot of European writers, they wrote in their pen name or their pseudonym because they'd be killed. I'm telling you. No matter the social level, deceptive or false identifications are used to hide the correct and proper person, place, or thing. See, you thought when they said, oh, put Negroes in the same person, place, or thing, like that's free. A person, place, or thing is ownership. We're going to break this down. We're going to get all the way there and then go back and say who lied to you. This is real civics, showing you how to be civil. This is how we come together. I ain't worried about nobody else with no $5 Indian. I ain't worried about no European, Albion, Trinidad. I'm worried about me, you, and all of us. And for us to stop calling ourselves something that's synonymous to slavery and come together and stand up and arise. And once we do that, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You fill out the SF-181 form the proper way. Nobody never showed you. I'm going to show you. Haram Abeth, the widow's son, originated from the same European minds who created the name Negro, black, colored, African American people. The 3/5 clause, the blue-eyed Yahshua, trust legal tender of man-made gods formed from the bust of past presidents. And of course, America's first sheet terrorists, which you know, the Ku Klux Klan, and they stole everything. when you get J.A. Rogers, 100 Maiden Facts About the Negro, and you see go to Corsica and you go to Spain and you see everything about the Klan is stolen, from the cone hats and everything is stolen. And then I'll show you that they under a lot of our tenets, which is the Quran. They just put an L in it, the Quran. I got my bachelor's degree from Clear University, and the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan live out there. How I know? Because I go out there. I got my undergrad from there. One of the hardest business schools in Michigan. I'm telling you, I don't get treated no other way. And I'm an official. That's why I'm telling y'all. That's why I'm telling my brothers, you don't have to join that outside your brother. We got to come together. What's the use? Why? Why would you want to be something that's really nothing? Why? And other Masonic offerings, including Santa Claus, Humpty Dumpty. You know? A lot of our brothers and sisters just don't know, and that's okay. That's okay. We don't know. You only can know what you know. You only can know what our parents taught us. But it's just the beauty. That's the beauty that I had a mother and a father and an upbringing that allowed me to learn, that introduced me to some things. It's almost like when Khalid Muhammad, when you see his son Farrah Gray now, but he used to be with his dad. But now he reversed. He be in a whole bunch of other stuff. Not saying he doing nothing wrong, but he ain't like his dad. I just reverted back to who I know. Come on, man. This is the power of the people. This is the power. The life of a widow begins with the death of her husband. Watch this. And she has not remarried. Watch the joke you getting played with. Watch this. A widow is a respected but unprotected woman. An unprotected woman is a first alert, denoting the fall of a nation. Symbolically, because everything is symbolic. Signs and symbols, my brothers and sisters. The widow is a code word, descriptive of a nation in adversity, who cannot defend itself or prosper because its government and power has become substandard. Remember, watch this, most churches and secret societies, what they call their donations, widow's mite, to help women who have been widowed. The laws of marriage bond has raised her from what? Female to woman, to support the high station of wife. That's why it ain't no such thing as no single mom. I'll lecture that later, the atrocities of the single so-called mama. And then we'll be like, you dissing the sisters. No, I'm not. A lot of our ladies choose to be single moms. How? Because they want some welfare. My empress right here. They want some wick. And if we can sit down and raise our children together, they want some welfare. And we ain't never had a problem with nothing. The government, your daddy. From there, she was raised to motherhood because she alone can create a God in 9 months without the sound of a hammer or a nail. You see? And allegedly, Haram Abif, the widow's son, prosperity has now been compromised with the death of his father. And secretly, her son's code name is Haram Abif. But publicly, his shallow grave has been clearly marked and accepted as the misnomer Negro. I hope y'all listening to me, black and colored people. And if the student will understand and imagine the widow as a Mexima or Africa and her son, the God man of the Nile, then you can see why the furthest thing from when people be saying Willie Lynch, and that's fake too. When you see in the European Mason's mind is the possibility of Haram Abif being raised from his constitutional shallow grave, whole and intact, as one nation, bearing one free national name. I hope y'all seeing what I'm saying and catching what I'm saying. Because there is no such thing as a perfect or unpunished crime. Remember, because when somebody denationalize you, that's a big crime. Watch this as I get into the main topic, because we got time. There can never be no widow while Allah is the husbandman. So all your uncles, your cousins, and your daddies, that's Freemason, they talk about they some widow son, the joke on you, Jack. I bet you they ain't gonna come and say nothing to me, because I got your charter. And your charter ain't nothing but snow. And if you're in the Greek fraternity, I got your charter too. Your charter ain't nothing. The Greek is a fraud too. Ain't no disrespect. It ain't no disrespect. It ain't no disrespect. I tell people I'm transparent. I'm part of the Philosophical Research Society. I'm transparent. It's a lot of stuff that our brothers that say they heavy, they just talk gibberish, but I got it all. And I give it to my brothers and sisters. It's just like if you love old martial art movies. I remember when we was growing up, I love old martial arts movies. And one of my homies on here from Flint, Big Los, peace. And I know he remember Uncle Jimmy, peace and love, rest in peace, Uncle Jimmy. And Shannon and Derek and I, we used to watch them Kung Fu movies, and Uncle Jimmy used to put that karate suit on. But you need to be around the wisdom, and if the wisdom have all the manuscripts to break all down the craft and everything, and he said, young students, not only learn, but study the manuscript, study the ancient manuscript to learn all the skills, to practice the breathing. Reading is something then. Retardo, fardo. We couldn't even read. We couldn't even come together. We couldn't even do this. And the first thing we let people say, well, reading ain't everything. No, it's not. It's the only thing, fool. It's the only thing. Well, is money the mission? It's the only mission. Were you righteous, fool? Were you righteous? About reading ain't everything. Yes, it is. You a damn fool. Let's deal with this science. Let's deal with this science. There can never be no widow while Allah is the husbandman. Ask your uncle, your cousin, that's a Freemason. Ask them. They ain't gonna say, they're gonna be like, what you mean? They're gonna start acting retarded or acting like they got a virus in their computer. They're gonna start acting like a brain fart. They're gonna like short circuit. Like you said something, they're gonna short circuit. I'm telling you. That's why I don't get that crap. I don't get that crap. Most of them are teachers, preachers, all that. And I'm telling you, I done traveled the north, south, east, west, all the shores, and came out unburned with the degrees, with the charter, to speak exactly how I'm speaking. And they all know it. I teach our people about what the widow's son is. The first thing actually is the last thing that a Mason earns the privilege to know. I teach all this. Our prophet teaches all this. Big facts. All Moors is actually the very last thing a Mason earns the privilege to know. Who made you? Allah, the great God. Man is a thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time. Man himself is not the body nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. So spirit man, as a seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of Allah. That's why I be laughing at these Freemasons, especially these brothers, because they know the lower house they went through Christianity, the highest house is Islam. And then they'll get up there and act like it's the difference. And they got all them books on their manual, on the tables in the Masonic house. That's why I keep telling y'all, these Negroes is lying to you. Every preacher that's a Mason is a liar. No disrespect to you. I love you. I know a whole bunch of them. I already told them they lie in their face. Not saying that you're not nice or you may not be a good person, but if we were in law, because law governs all events, and we dealing with facts, and you say this facts, everybody say without no prejudice, like, yeah, this man is right with the information and with the proof. You are lying, sir. What? Based off what's going on. That's how. You behind the pulpit telling a fallacy, but at the same time, you a Mason. You went through the lower house Christianity and the higher house is Islam. And what do you do? What's the code word? Assalamu alaikum. Tell me I'm lying. So who lying to you? Don't say no European, because the European will tell you that he or she is the son of Muslim. I just told you. The Negro will tell you that he or she is a widow's son. So who is lying to you? The European or your brother? That's easy to say. That's very simple. And then I'll get just like on, what's that? Menace to Society, put the tape in. Put the tape in. You know you done effed up, don't you? You know you done effed up because I put the tape in, a European Scottish Rite Mason telling it all, speaking just like me. Real talk. Now seeds are perfect, yea, as perfect as the source from which they come, but they are not unfolded into life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed, must be deeply planted in a soil that he might grow, unfold, as does the bud unfold to show the flower. The human seed that come forth from the heart of Allah was foreordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth this human seed into the soil of the soul. It grew apace, and a man became a living soul. And she became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. You got to understand that if you look like me, we ain't dissing nothing. This is a resurrection. What I tell my Moorish children, there can be no widow because Allah, the great God of the universe, is the husbandman. That's why Black Mason, that's why Prince Hall Mason, that's why. If this stuff ain't hard, this ain't no hard ass riddle. And they wear the fez in secrecy. This ain't no hard riddle. There can never be no widow because Allah, the great God of the universe, is the husbandman. That's why. So all your uncles, your dads, your cousins, the Freemasons, they lying. And ain't no and no disrespect based off our ancient teachings. How? I'm showing you. And if they come with some love, they'll be honest, just like the Greek fraternities. Why would you want to be a part of something that's going to haze you? That's like slavery and make a mockery of you instead of teach you who you are. And then we come and use our economics. When I teach you about tax exempt status and all that stuff to do stuff in the community, why? What's the use for jumping around, marching like a dog? That sounds like some slavery stuff to me. The soil of soul, you know? With her actions of thinking, willing, reasoning, understanding, remembrance, is the mother within which Allah planted his spirit, man seed. The word man means thinker. The word man means thinker. Man rises by the elevated degrees of what he or she thinks. When I talk about illumination, our ladder of salvation has 3 steps. It's our belief, it's our faith, it's our fruition. For all my Moors, it's in our Moors Quran, chapter 7, verse 25 to 31. But then these Moors say they teaching Moorish science. No, you're not. You teaching sovereign citizen, Roger Elvick, paradigm group, criminal, European stuff. That's what you teaching. The more rapid our thoughts, the more like unto ourself as God becomes and as we becomes. And our thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. And man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah and lives and lives and it lives in us. And that means that man cannot die. Therefore, while the West African slave trade will forever be a situation that happened, you know, but the untold truth is that the inhabitants of the African continent has never been without the omnipotence of the great universal creator. In other words, brothers and sisters, as long as Allah lives, man nor the mother that nourished us can never die. Understand what I'm saying? The African continent had always been the mother of the human family. We got to understand that, y'all. We setting the precedent. Don't nobody have no power to lie to you. We send our kids to these public schools and all that. Who's there teaching our kids this crap? Watch this. When y'all see old Masonic charts, I can show y'all things and break it all down. It's an old Masonic chart. Pull it up. Copywritten 1870. It's an old Masonic chart. You can pull it up. It's called the Old Masonic Chart. Copywritten 1870. Pull it up. And you can see buried under the evergreen tree, beneath the foundation of all Freemasonry in the United States, it lay a sealed coffin bearing a 5-point open star of the West African Moorish. And the openness of the star represents the boundlessness of the perfected man, or we like to use the acronym or the science or the phrase God and man. A true modification of this coffin of the Moorish people is told symbolically in the President George Washington fable when we use the story of chopping down the cherry tree. When it's understanding that that's the denationalization under the first U.S. presidency. And it's vividly brought through the light, you know, on the cover of our Exhumed of the Nation. Even if your sister, if she an Eastern Star, and she ain't gonna tell you that the white feds with the gold tassel and they stars of the East, and they ain't gonna tell you that they under the DAR, which is the Daughters of American Revolution. No disrespect, the Europeans. That's where the marriage law came from. Do you see the Mormon or the Amish going to downtown? We don't have to do that. I'm telling y'all, I'm telling you facts what I know. And when we do that, what? We bring somebody in our contract. And you don't even have to do that. The religious laws trump everything. I'm trying to tell y'all. I love all my people. This is a resurrection. In y'all Bible, you ever heard of Jablo, Jablah, and Jablim? Or Jabella, Jablo, Jabella, and Jablim? In your Bible, the symbolic names of those three shelter the shame and the identities of the assassins of Haram Abith. Watch this, right in your Bible. And the Mason brothers won't even tell you this because they playing the game. But see, the game is already over. See, what Trump done is open a Pandora box. I'm telling y'all. And these Negroes talk about they some Fourth Amendment Negroes and all that. Clearly, you're not educated. The widow's son. Do not be fooled by the harmonic sound of these names. The seemingly nursery rhyme effect has about the same stage meaning as sheet clothing on a wolf. The Jubes are covert names and are not accidental. They are designed to show they are different chords of the same instrument. Don't let the sound of the triple name fool you. Watch this. The prefix Jubi, J-U-B-I, or Jubai, always precedes a celebrated occasion. What do you mean? Jubilation, Jubilee, Jubilant. Like Larry, Moe, and Curly, the three Jews are a slap happy and a life terminating that ever came out of Europe. These are murderers and assistant murderers in the first and second and the third utmost evil degree. So understanding should always overrule compassion when creatures act according to their nature. Therefore, it should be best to understand that Jablo, Jabella, and Jablim did not murder Haram because they hated Africans, but because they are who they are. That's what it is. Haram, the African god-man, was an Egyptian adapt master and represented the founder of the first monotheistic religious creed. The faith and its sacred rituals, initiation, were popularized by Akhenaten, the first Muslim pharaoh of Egypt. Muslim is one who submits his or her will to the will of the great God. For Prophet Muhammad, they say he perfected, translated the creed into this native Arabic language. It and called it Islam. American slaves forbidden to pray to God for their forefathers or to practice Islam, call it the old time religion. These slaves placed their hopes for the African religion of Islam into many of the songs and prayers of the Christian religion that was forced upon them during the so-called slavery. Conformity to the European King James religion of Christianity could offer the only rare source of discriminatory mercy. I can go on and on. But I want to set a little precedent because we got a little more time. We teaching today. And I said, the only thing that can make us free is understanding who we are. We are too old to be still out here playing and thinking the European, the white man gonna give us something and don't understand the power that we have as a people. We gotta stand behind something. I'm telling y'all, man, or we gonna lose everything. Why? Thinking we Negro, black, and color, and African American. And that's a slave. I don't care about your religion. I'm an adapt. I understand the triple roles, but as a misnomer black person, you have no idea who you are when you identify as Negro, black, and color, and African American. That's a slave. It ain't nothing good about that. Masonry enacted the Haram Abith parable saying, Jablo attacked Haram at the west gate and struck him with a 24-inch gauge. That's what these Masons is lying to y'all about. Your uncle, your dad, your father, they know what I'm saying. Ask them. They're going to say, who you been talking to? Say, my brother, he 99 degrees of ancient rite of Memphis and Mizraim, and he's a sheik and an adapt, and he had all the tablets. I bet you they ain't going to say nothing. But I bet you they going to look me up, and they going to say, well, yeah, he telling the truth. And then you're going to be like, well, why are you not going to tell the truth? Because they took an oath. Even your Greek homie that's jumping around, he took an oath. I love him. That's why most of them don't know nothing. Most of them don't know nothing. But they all went to college, and they don't know who they are. And I asked them, do they know who George G.M. James is? Well, who was that? It's a book called George G.M. James. He telling you the Greek is a fraud. Read it for yourself. I asked them, do they know who Steve Coakley is? Nope. Steve Coakley got so many series telling the Greek is a fraud. And then George G.M. James' book is called, what's the name of his book? Stolen Legacy. Greek history is nothing but Egyptian stolen history. It's called stolen legacy. Haram wounded and tried to escape and ran to the south gate where Jablela struck him across the neck with a square. Haram, when running east, was attacked by Jablam at the east gate and hit him with the fatal blow in the head with the setting maul. It must be remembered that the three Jubes make themselves according to the three major European stages of African subjugation. The first stage was the three-head religion. Second was the three-headed beast of the no disrespect, the Pale Nations. It's in their charter. And the last stage was the three dead badges of U.S. Reconstruction law. The West Gate is actually a storefront, a crusade as Christianity, but it's the covert operation of the Roman Catholic order. The South Gate is those who call themselves Jews. It's in your Bible, Revelations 2:9, Revelation 3:9. And my European professor, he say it's the truth. He say they Anglo-Saxon. He'll tell you, all you got to do is go on my page. I shared it with y'all. Everybody know I'm telling the truth. Truth has no sides. And the East Gate was the Muslims with the Arabian thought pattern. When they don't tell you about the Arab slave trade and all these brothers painting their beard. And they don't know and they ain't never read the Bukhari Hadith. I don't believe in nothing outside of myself. Anything outside of myself is true shirk. When Freemasonry was formed, it represented the pseudo transition of African subjugation from the big three religions to the private sector. I'm telling y'all, man. They don't want to tell y'all that. They don't want to tell you, our people don't want to tell y'all this. Remember when I tell y'all silver mortis? What is silver mortis? Think about this, brothers and sisters. Watch this. Think how deep this is. Because it's all deep. Your brother, we go to church. Oh, I went to church to do what? I'm giving them my money to do this. And our neighborhoods is in shambles. And when I talk about tax exempt status, using our money to build infrastructure, and I can give brothers and sisters a tax exempt receipt, we need to have our own. That's the only way. Nobody's going to give us nothing to build our own. We can do it. We can do it. Cutting down the cherry tree, the 3/5 clause of the United States Constitution, is the true setting maul of Jablum. Legally, the cherry tree's 3/5 clause is the open-faced crime of denationalization and genocide of the African people, but disguised as the murder of Haram Abith by European Masons to protect the guilty. Think about what I'm saying, y'all. Like the boy who threw the rock, then hid his hand behind his back. The orders of Freemason traditionally use the courts and government of the USA to get their God thing off. You got to know this. Just like when I talk about the white man's constitution, when you can look up in Wilmington, I think that was South Carolina. Look up the white man's constitution in Wilmington, South Carolina, and see what the Europeans did, Albions, and then keep saying that you black. Then let the politicians and citizens be the scapegoats. That's why I call you silver mortis. Silver mortis is Latin for civilly dead. When brothers go to court, you civilly dead in the eyes of the law. I'm telling you. See, your brother, your uncle, your cousin, that's a Prince Hall Mason, is recognized as the founder of Masonry for the men of color. Watch this. And today they are 40, maybe a little bit more, 44 Grand Lodges with more than 500,000 free so-called Negroes. But a Negro can't be free. Watch this. All Negro Masons can trace their heritage through this special brother. As history will have it, Prince Hall was a Barbados, freeborn of an English father and a French mother of African descent. Just like when I talk about Pascal Beverly Randolph. I'll teach about that later. The only trick was his free birth was one drop of African blood, just like J. Edgar Hoover and all them. In the British colonies, pre-United States, meant that carriers would still be classified as a Negro. That was in the book, one of the hidden cause of the Civil War. It's by Tenzer. If you had a tittle of Negro blood in you, you was a Negro. That book cost stacks and stacks on Amazon. We got them all here for you. That's why I said, can't nobody deny what I'm saying. They'll try to defend something, and then we'll let them come with that, and we'll come with the scholarship, and then in the course of the law, they'll be like, well, we'll lock the liar up because you can't be biased. Prove your point with the proof, sir. No problem. I rest my case with no rebuttal. His master, William Hall. His His master, William Hall, freed him after 21 years of slavery within the Hall family. Hence, the reader or the student is encouraged to recall, on the scale of free national citizens, there is no distinction between a Negro slave and a free Negro. They are both Negro property. I'm telling you, that's why the Lords be lying to y'all. And the student must find it hard to avoid the constant reoccurrences of England and France, always in the picture, wherever slavery and masonry are twin-rooted. I'm telling you, man. That's why these black Shriners, although they are identical to the so-called real Scottish Rite, the York Rites, can never be recognized by the England's Grand Temple. I'm telling you. And that's why I be telling Negroes, I can get all the way deeper with the degrees, with the York or the state Rite has. We can go all the way, but that ain't what I want to talk about. I'm telling you, your brothers and sisters have been lying to you. They done took an oath to keep you in subjugation. I'm telling you. An accepted Negro is dead. Is dead. That's what it is. An accepted Negro is dead. They can be mad and argue all they want to, because they're not going to tell you this right here. The 13th and the 14th and the 15th Reconstruction Amendments, y'all. That's what it's all about. And the Negro, the black, or the colored, which we use the NBC as an acronym, slave from the legally binding slave laws of 1779, the United States Constitution, the 3/5 clause. But not the same can be said of the 13th Amendment of 1865. This is the first of the 3 Reconstruction Amendments. And it did, in fact, abolish the institution of slavery, which then opened the door of what? Freedom to all African descents in the North America. But make no mistake about it, the 13th Amendment was the greatest and only document of manumissions. Do you know what a manumission is? Ever to be enacted by the Congress of the United States. I'm telling you, watch this, y'all. We almost where we need to be. In order to understand why the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment, particularly as pertaining to American slaves and ex-slaves, as granted privileges, as opposed to rights, you got to focus briefly on what prompt their ratifications. And this enlightenment is necessary because most U.S. citizens were fooled into believing that the USA actually surrendered her slaves with no strings attached. But I, in the flesh, just like our prophet did, America is totally unknowledgeable of being a slaveless government. Slavery, especially chattel slavery, when we talk about machination of a Maya people, has always been a divine issue. The average time any nation has to suffer slavery, don't they say, is about what, 400 years? That's the duration of physical bondage. And it was no exception to the enslavement of the West Coast African by the so-called Pale Nations. Because when you say 1492 to 1865, that's around 373 years, right? Right? And in fact, the Emancipation Proclamation was such a perfect hoax of executive power. There are people now and later still believe it freed slaves. Remember, I got all the Lincoln letters, and Lincoln, like most politicians, used his knowledge of history as a platform to acquire office. The stronger their political race. Abraham knew history and knew it well from the world's leading history book, which is the Bible, especially the book of Deuteronomy, especially the Leviticus codes, which dealt with systems of slavery. And that's why I said our misnomer black preachers, they doing us wrong. At this time, it will do us well to point the enslavement of Africans was strongly supported by the 3 world's 4th major religions. The Buddhists, the Hindus, the Confucians was the only religions order accepted from the modern day enslaving of the white-skinned people of the continent of Africa. You heard what I said. The Buddhists, the Hindus, and the Confucians, they were the only one that went down with it because they knew who their ancestors were. This is by no means suggests that the hands of India are innocent of an African slave trade, especially when their history has been stained by the world's foremost African slavers of all time, which is what? The Pale Arabs, who are the cities of India. It's just what it is. Jews of all people and the Muslims with support of the Christians all with their so-called holy books in their hand, marked over 500 million Africans from 1092 to the present day. And people need to know this. So when we talk about a citizen and all that, do we really know what it is? The laws established by the freeborn and the free men were from loving souls who are sovereigns from the womb of our mothers. U.S. citizens, on the other hand, are belligerents in the field and are subject to the jurisdictions. Don't get it twisted what I'm saying. All U.S. citizens are 14th Amendment persons, property implemented by Civil Rights Act of 1866, which was originally established to disguise the newly freed slaves. The only problem was that the European political powers of those days, they dug a shallow grave of fiend sensory for the ex-slaves, and they later fell into the same thing. Watch this. This is why, to this day, if the Americans actually knew what a U.S. citizen was, according to their law, they would really want to be one. And most people fail to realize is during drafting of the great document, the European men aged 21 were the only people recognized in America. See, you ain't know that? Women, other nationalities, and slaves were not considered as whole persons or people, at least not one with rights that a pale-skinned man had to respect. It takes a number of persons to make a people. Remember, it was written in Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. The word person was summarized into fifths, and 5/5, and 5/5 made one complete person. That's why the Bible says, woe to you lying lawyers, woe to you lying preachers. I'm telling you, this person, as endowed by the Creator and the laws of nature, was declared the whole number and a free person. This endowed with the totality of fifths, made a complete and perfect person, and subsequently a citizen. I hope you listening. And when the U.S. was first formed under its Constitution, because the Constitution has never been abolished, brothers and sisters, its sovereignty was for and by the people, mankind. The word person was used by the people to describe their property, their business, and fictional beings. Persons gave life to corporate America's oath, affidavits. That's like when a cop get a job. They have an oath of office. To uphold the Constitution. The notaries, pro se, Masonic members are all around the world. They lie to you. Ain't no such thing as no sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron. You can't be no sovereign and no citizen at the same time. You are no sovereign citizen. You no foreign national. I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. What type of American I am? A Moorish American. I have the right. The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, I have the right. What's my race? Asiatic. I choose Asiatic. That's who I am. What's my status? Free white. I'm white by law. If you don't understand that, that's why you're going to be abused. And that's why Negroes going to continue to be abused. Because you trying to talk to a cop that went to goddamn academy in 2 weeks instead of defending yourself in in court. And then doing things the right way. We do things the right way. I'm telling you, man. Understand what I'm saying, y'all. Please. Let's proceed. You got to understand this. Freeborn and bond servants, Moorish Americans and Negro church members, or unalienable rights and inalienable privileges. And if the assumable... You finna go there?
You want to go? You want to wait for you?
Yeah, I'll wait. Yeah, you can wait. I'll go with you.
All right. Sorry.
That's my baby. That's my wife, y'all. That's my homie. That's my... And like I said, when people be saying, a man that find a wife find a good thing, and then men be saying ain't no good women, well, you didn't hear it right. It said that man that find a wife. Your woman have to already exhume those wife qualities. And so behind, or I won't say behind, next to every good man is what? His empress. Let's proceed. But freeborn, Moors, Moorish American Negroes, all that. And if the assumable citizen of the USA only knew the true legal definition of citizen, they would be ticked to the highest of tictivity. Watch this. The true 5/5 components of a natural person for my brothers and sisters. Spirit, the indestructible God essence in man. Soul, actions, of the mind, powers, thinking, reasoning, willing, and understanding, body, flesh, human vehicle made of the earth, often indigenous to the land of birth. When you're dealing with wine, don't they ask for the appellation of the grapes? Yeah, okay. Nationality, the descendant birth, attachment through an especial nation or tribe, free national name, lineage, identity, and creed. Religious path of God consciousness established through forefathers, vine and fig tree. So your nationality and your creed is what was took from the misnomer slave. Those are the two main fifths extracted from the African nationals. Remember, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and many other European free Masonic slave owners who signed in the Constitution of the United States also wrote in their chattel as 3/5 of a person. What you mean, Sheik? They wrote in their chattel. In the laws, they wrote in the chattel, in the books, in the records, that Negroes is nothing but 3/5 of a person. That's what I'm telling you. And it never been abolished. The Dred Scott law has never been abolished. So why would you let somebody say that you a Negro? Why would you let somebody teach your kid to say you black and you slave and you some African booty scratcher and we play with that? Why? Why? Today still. Why? Why do we let people lie about the story of the Bible and say it's some white man gospel and it's not? And color don't matter. If color don't matter, why nobody ain't tell the truth? Why are preachers and teachers and educators afraid to teach the truth? Because that's what Carter G. Woodson said. The miseducation of the Negro is on our preachers and our teachers and our educators and the Freemason Negroes that look like us and all the fraternity people that's been lying forever. They've been lying back then, just like when you had Khalid Muhammad, just like when you had Dr. Ben, just like when you had Bobby Hemmett, just like when you had Steve Coakley stepping on their face, saying that these the ones that's lying to you. Go on YouTube and pull up Steve Coakley, all his series, The Greek of Fraud. You will see Khalid Muhammad there. You will see Bobby Hemmett there. All the brothers that was on the same level. We wasn't dissing each other. The only people that's dissing you is those Negroes that's under the oath, that took the oath, that lied to you. That's the Greek, that's the Negro Masons, and the black preachers that's under the faith-based initiative that's going to continue to lie. That's why they call brothers like myself pro-righteous teachers. We got to use our own funds, and we can't be stopped. The laws protect us. How? We taxes in for the federal government. Understand what I'm saying? We build our infrastructure. The Constitution thus became the first legal national deed of ownership of African slaves in the new nation. This act alone legalized racism and apartheid into the interior fabric of the new American culture. Further, it's politically certified all Negro blacks and color as 3/5 of all other persons and at the level of a beast. The European wrote a book called The Negro a Beast. I share this. We don't have to read that whole book for them, Brian. All my muftis to show brothers, here's what they think about you. Here's what they think about you. That's why I'm able to travel everywhere. Money is not earned, it's given. They say black people just throw their money away and then ask the government to give them something and don't understand the strength of the dollar. I just said we taxes in for the federal government. Negroes waiting for a tax return and don't understand the power of a dollar. I broke it down yesterday when I was saying how all Europeans and professionals, they donate to their religious organization and that's how they build infrastructure. They don't care about giving their money to Uncle Sam. They can donate to their religious organization and get a tax return receipt. That's why they have things. We don't. We give all our money to Uncle Sam. And then after our pro day is over, we come back to the neighborhood after we done sucked everything out. And come right back to the neighborhoods. I'm telling y'all, any man without national roots from which to draw strength and the great God for his guidance is no longer a complete man. If I can do this with my European colleagues, I hope I can do this with my brothers and sisters. How I sat down with them and showed them how a certain amount of dollars given at the end of the year, millions of dollars come in. Now they have $1 million operation just off the numbers that I said. And they said, your people gonna be lost. I sat down with all my European colleagues, with one of my Jewish colleagues that I graduated with. And now he's a priest. All he did is took the blueprint. He was like, well, how can I do this? All his people understand. Went back to his neighborhood. I saw him do it. And they do what they doing right now. He got over 2,500 people. And he was like, if y'all just give $150 a month, we can have $4.5 million a year operation. The people did the calculation. They said, that's it, that's nothing. Now he way more than that. But this is why I'm saying why we don't have nothing. Because we think somebody's supposed to give us something while we waste our money. We taxes in for the federal government and we don't get it. But for those who keep up with the total commercialization of who we are, it's like the Wizard of Oz, you know? And you can see that the Negro, black, and color as purely a fictional character, fake citizen, painted into the scheme of an ex post facto, you know? We got to understand this. Our nationality, our divine order, that's what we need. And we have climbed the 3 stages of the thinking ladder. Belief, faith, fruition. It's in our Moorish Quran, chapter 7, verse 25 to 31. Come on, Moors. That's why I said, when we got to clear this up, we cannot let these Negroes be on the internet with this goofy stuff. Or we just going to stand for it. No, we got to clean it up. Let's stand up strong. But the attempt to remove in whole or in part 1/5 from any man is a conscious act known simultaneously as a sin and a crime. You know that. The United States judicial system marks violation as a federal crime known throughout the U.S. courts as what, y'all? Denationalization. That's why I say all these Negroes that's on the internet talk about they some Moroccan general, some president. Can't no Negro nationalize you or denationalize you. That'll change you from the descendant nature of your foremothers and your forefathers. All these goofy retardo fardos in a basement so-called court, all they can do is make you a member of their group. These Negroes is retarded. And it ain't no disrespect. How somebody that you met on the internet gonna make you something? You ain't thought about that? The irony is the crime is that committed manually when the 14th Amendment became law and then written, state seal, upon the live birth of every Negro, black, colored, African American. But the denationalization is played off. You know? That's why we talk about the Negro and the sardine. That's why the Bible tells you, and history, 1, beware of the lying preacher, but right here where I'm telling you, and stay in context, beware of lying lawyers. That's why I had the privilege in academia. My professor was a prosecutor attorney. Oh yeah. That's why I got all precedent in law cases. I used to see everything. He'd be like, man, you would be a good criminal defense attorney. I said, no, I wouldn't. I said, why? Because I said, I'm not defending my brothers, no criminals. I got to find to make some money another way. I'm not defending my brothers that's criminals. I'd rather be, how can I say it? Your legal rep. The one that fact check everything, to give you the precedent in law cases, the doc number, Free Information Act, let you know about habeas corpus, the habeas corpus, the Free Information Act, doc numbers, you know, all those things. I ain't defending no criminal. That's why I have an expertise. We shouldn't be doing no criminal. We should be defending ourselves from the criminal acts that's been bestowed on us the right way. But any lawyer worth his salt of the bar will lie to you, swear on his or her Bible, and declare that blacks are citizens of the USA because the term other persons of the U.S. Constitution refers to slaves. But au contraire, mon frere, the 13th Amendment is so-called abolish slavery, right? And or the Dred Scott decision. No, the Dred Scott law was never abolished, right? Well, that decision was replaced by the 14th Amendment. Specifically eliminated the 3/5 formula. And what these fair servants of the courts will not tell you and tell their so-called clients is that no constitutional law have ever been handed down by Congress to teach back the latter 2/5 necessary to make the free slaves into a whole person. Just like I told you, the Freemason, the story of Haram Abiff, they know this. Your brother that look like you know this. They know nationality, law, and spirituality go together. So who playing the game with you? Who playing the game with you? I just told you. It ain't the job of the European to tell you who you are. They laughing at you. They like, well, your brother right there is 99 degrees. He's our teacher. He telling you. They can't just flat out tell you. He been showing you how to build the nation. He been showing you. We just can't tell you. I be giving analogies of Sopranos, of tax exempt status, how we can use what? Donate. I give everybody a tax exempt receipt. That's how we build our infrastructure. We have our temple and school right in our neighborhood. What we talk about? We have our grocery stores right in our neighborhood, computer labs right in our neighborhood. What are we talking about? A person must be made consciously whole before he or she can become a citizen, have the rights of a citizen, and be subject to the jurisdiction of a citizen. Everyone, I do mean everyone, anywhere on the planet Earth has all 5/5 and are whole, except who? The so-called Negro. All your brothers and friends, you can get in the car and say, what do you claim? Oh, I'm black, I'm African American. That's something with their mind. When people be following these people that say they're going to open up a school with that pro-black stuff, but then in the same voice, they'll say, well, we understand that we Moors. Well, you can't take that black stuff to court and law because according to science and law, black mean death. Negro, black, color, African American. Come on, man. We still on that dumb game? I saw a brother go to the misnumbered black college university and all those college students were screaming. And my professor was like, that's some sad S-H-I-T. And my professor is a European. He was like, these brothers are, that's how they are? And this is what people say, well, you don't know how long it takes to open up a school. I said, yes, I do. A long time, a lot of money. That's why I know going into it, certain things, it's already premeditated as a scam. That's how. Jalen Rose don't have enough money. You think Jalen Rose or LeBron James use their own money to build a school? Absolutely not. That's why I know what it takes to build a school. We have a temple and a school to where we ain't taking our kids from regular school to get their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. We giving them a place after that, for we can give them something to compare to. And in the summertime, and as we grow and build, those things can happen. You see, the 13th Amendment abolished so-called abolished physical slavery, but left psychological, which is mental slavery, in full effect. How? Because your homeboy, your friend, right now be like, "What's up, my nigga? What's up? Yeah, I'm a nigga. Oh, my nigga. I'm a nigga. I'm an African American. Ooh, the black man stand proud. And we the black man, and the black man, and the black man." That's some stupid stuff, y'all. I don't care what nobody say. My mama, my dad, they ain't black. Don't you better not say nothing black around me. That's anti-Semitic. I'm gonna think you the police. You know, brother, ain't you a black man? No. No, I'm not. If black is beautiful, yes. Purple beautiful, orange beautiful, green beautiful, white beautiful, but it ain't my nationality. Most of all, you a black or you this or you don't like yourself. You a damn fool. No, you don't like yourself. Calling yourself Negro, color, African American. That's synonymous to a damn slave. You don't love yourself. You confused. You go to church and you let them old people sing this Amazing Grace, and your grandma singing it, "Oh, ranch like me." That wasn't for you. That was a European on the boat, all the atrocities that they family done. But well, this is a church song. What? The what? Amazing Grace? I ain't no wretch. This violates the second fifth, the right of mind that will pray to God and thank him for allowing you to wake up in your right mind and then sing these slave songs. Closed in your right mind. With the ratification of the 13th Amendment, the enslavement of the human bodies is now legally forced upon a lot of criminals, duly convicted as punishment for crimes. Yet the ex-slaves still existed within the United States of America and subject to its jurisdictions. I ain't saying you can commit crimes. That ain't what I'm saying. Y'all got to remember, President Lincoln also said, "My people do not want them." Who? Who is them? The slaves, to become citizens. If I could unite my country without freeing the slave, I would do that. He was actually expressing a European national settlement. No true red blood American wanted to free slaves. Although the ratification of the original 13th Amendment with its full body of 20 sections did not reach fruition, it is still of utmost importance for its historical adjudication before 1864 U.S. Congress to be known to the African descents. Especially because one, brothers, the enactment of the laws was all about the emancipation and freedom of their recent grand forefathers. And two, when the full Senate vote on passing the 13th Amendment was yes 38, nay 7, the U.S. slave population was 98% illiterate, and not one of them was present to represent themselves as a people. Now, all this time later, we can read, or at least I'm showing y'all how to read, and we know what our grandparents could not have known. And the following information can be found in the U.S. Library of Congress, or research what I'm saying, or in the 1885 book called The Great Conspiracy by who? John Logan. It's right there. Get it for yourself. I got so many books by Europeans that agree with me. They said, brother, it's on your people. And here is one of the proposed original 13th Amendments with the full body of the 20 sections. And I don't even have time to read all full, but you need to read it all. You need to get it. You need to get it. Watch this. Watch this. After the 20 sections, because the 20 sections, right? After Congress would not pass the original 13th Amendment with the full body of 20 sections, instead they summarized the 13th to just 2 sections. Lincoln said, quite honestly, they, the Negro, will never be totally free under my people. And basically, Congress, still dazed after 4 years of a bloody civil war, said with a loud voice, it only takes 1 section to abolish slavery. And we will throw in a second section stating Congress shall have power to enforce that one article by appropriate legislation. Meaning they can do whatever they want to. We do not need the other 18 sections. The European Pact Congress reminded the Lincoln administration the U.S. Constitution was not written for slaves, but to ensure domestic tranquility and to secure the blessings of liberty to us and our posterity. Who? The descendants. Watch this. Watch this. Now, the 14th Amendment, brothers and sisters. There was no need for the application of the 14th and the 15th Amendment for the salvation of my people. So when you got these Negroes marching around, these Democrats, all this, and everybody saying they for you, and they talk about some 14th Amendment, I already told you and broke down from scholarship. Because we are smart people now, y'all, brothers and sisters. Our baby's smart. They got the right to be asking us this. They got the right. I already explained, and our babies know, because I tutor them. 1865 to 70 amendments, and have made the determination that the 14th and the 15th Amendment is the sneakiest document of what? Re-enslavement that ever been written. And any brother that's melanated out here promulgating some 14th Amendment and they some politician or some preacher or some teacher, they a fool. The 14th Amendment alone is so crippling and devastating until it later transformed every U.S. citizen from ignorant sugar cubes to corporate sheets, known as what? Straw men, within the 60 years of ratification. Remember, the power of the South had been its slaves until losing the Civil War. 1863 military strategy of the Emancipation Proclamation and the 1870 Negro Voters' Rights Amendment proved the Southern states were powerless without its slaves, brothers and sisters. Are y'all walking with me? You got to remember that the 14th and the 15th Amendment brought the North and the South into unit. What happened after that? It placed the Southerners, who were at that time without power. I mean, the Southerners, without power. And since the Civil War was primarily fought between one brother in blue and the other brother in red, in gray, the 14th Amendment was actually a legal settlement or an agreed order, which took slavery from the Great Dispensation and spread it to every state throughout the United States, brothers and sisters, or the Blue Republic. And this was the only way both brothers could settle the long-standing grievances about the power of owning and sustaining slaves in America. You got to understand and bring back to your hippocampus or your remembrance the founding fathers and their prosperity were and are frantically, seriously about their slaves. You got to understand this. It's so much in history that we can talk about. And really do people of the United States realize that the Congressional 13th Amendment was also a manumission treaty with the African descents of the former slaves. And this document not only freed the slaves, but also simultaneously created a second new nation of people. And the Treaty of Freedom was broken within 3 years of this ratification. And by the covert and needless, 14th Amendment. Also living in the same sunlight of the European words, the so-called Negro, colored, and black people, being backlash from the 1868 14th Amendment, still believe this congressional act made them citizens of the United States. And it's really heartbreaking when most people discover that it is a divine, a natural, and lawful impossibility to make a denationalized person, property, into a citizen of a free national government. A people are only free when they are true within themselves, pure, clean, and independent. So you can't be free, you can't be nothing when you a Negro, a color, or African American, or a slave. So why are we standing behind people that's telling us this? And then they say they got degrees because they some Negro slaves and Freemason slaves. That's why. It's of supreme importance for the student to identify the esoteric and the exoteric master words of persons, person or with the S, and alien. Watch this, y'all. Particularly as they are used in the Reconstruction Amendments and in the apparent body of the U.S. Constitution. These words are soaked in Masonic when we talk about the Maya of European male superiority and its profane world of Africans, subjugation, and slavery. And if the Negro, black, and colored really wants to see what the U.S. laws say of them, they must understand their language when they are called persons and aliens. Or they can simply rationalize the frivolous possibility of the same constitutional master of slaves for 400 consecutive years will suddenly love them so much as to free them and to recognize them as equal to themselves as citizens. You should know better than that, my brothers and my sisters. Is this likely from a so-called body of people that is totally unfamiliar of the life without slaves? This complete disregard for Negroes as citizens was backed up by a nearly century of non-military support by the United States government until the advent of the Little Rock Nine, 1868 to 1975. And during that 89-year period, there were 3,882 recorded lynchings and the 1921 mass bombing of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and millions of cases of Jim Crow segregation. You must remember, my brothers and sisters, that the 14th Amendment clearly states all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. I'm telling you. We're going to break this down tomorrow. We're going to do this tomorrow in a DAP class because we lost. The italicization words are very consequential to understanding the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. It goes on to read, in addition to no legal abridgment of these privileges or immunities of the citizens, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, property, or equal protection of laws. Now, I'm going to break some down to y'all. It's a scholarship called, his name is Charles A. Wiseman. At Harvard and Oxford and Cambridge, all the European scholars, the skull and bones, they study it. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. It's a whole bunch of other scholarship books he written. I have them all. I'm going to teach them to y'all to show you that who playing a game with y'all, your own brother and sister. This opening clause is in fact an ex post facto reenactment of the Negro and congressional deed of ownership of all ex-slaves, aka persons. These laws were already written and guaranteed to U.S. citizens as rights earlier in the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. So why was it necessary for the rights to appear as privileges? Again, in its 14th Amendment. Watch this. Simple, y'all. To make provisions for millions of free slaves that were not included in the Constitution by design, by the people, for the people, that was endowed by their creator. And unfortunately, brothers and sisters, history showed the Negro, black, and colored slave was and is endowed by his owner. And it is the duty of all creators to endow their creations. This also revealed blacks as an American-made product exclusively. Why? Because you certified and marked only in America. See, you getting branded. That's why I say the Greek is a fraud. The owner of all Negro, black, and colored people was and will always be the exclusive makers of Negroes. All creators are the true owner of his creations. And God never made any black people. God never made no black people. So when the preacher get up there and say, well, the black, well, you wrong, because God never made black people. During the period of physical slavery, it was understood the slave was the property of the slave master, endowed with his name, mark, and provisions. The servitude into the assumed sensory it is today. It now reads, all persons born. This clause was made to symbolize the nationalization of former slaves into citizens, yet without the free national descendant name of their forefathers and their own true nationality, deemed by divine and natural law. They are still slaves and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. I'm telling y'all, man, as I close, watch this. Actually, the word person, as used in the 14th Amendment, is a masterful work of deception and has fooled millions of the best legal minds in the modern history. Those few do know will not tell because they were sworn to secrecy prior to receiving the information. And remember, all three of the Reconstruction Amendments ratified by Congress between 1865 and 1870 were written exclusively about the slaves and ex-slaves. The most damaging by far is the 14th Amendment, because here, persons with the S is always referring to ex-slaves. Is a word held to protect the civil rights of the Negro, Black, and Colored, but was broadened by the Supreme Court to include corporations, other properties, and businesses under its Equal Protection Clause. This word is today as much as the 3/5 formula in the basis U.S. Constitution, which calls to bright of a light in the letter of the law. And through the equivalent, and through the Constitution, the word persons, brothers and sisters, as applied to you and I, the misnomer African American, or whatever misnomer that you choose, right, is still equivalent to the same individual and corporate property as always. So what I'm trying to explain to my brothers and sisters, to sum it up, the 14th terminology, person, constitutes as 3/5 in the same property referred to as person in his 1868 14th Amendment 89 years later. And again, proving the corporate United States of America, with the exception of 3 years, 1865 to 1868, has never been without its slaves. Right, y'all? As we close, Negro, Black, and Colored African Americans will never have true rights. The misnomer Negro, Black, or Colored, acronym NBC, being the name of denationalized humans, property, were never designed to have rights. As labeled property, the Negro, Black, and Colored can never have true rights, because all rights are contingent upon universal, natural, and or civil laws. And before there can be rights, there must be laws. So you talk about some civil rights, it got to be laws, from which rights derive their strength. And since the Negro does not have a constitution or laws of autonomy from which to draw itself, he or she cannot have lawful rights. This is why the great Dred Scott decision of 1857 stated, and I quote eloquently, my brothers and sisters, with a silver tongue, "The Negro has no rights that the true citizens are bound to respect." And this divine and civil law was ratified in the 14th Amendment under the word persons and sealed in its section 4, which stated in essence that Negroes, persons, whether free or slave, have no rights to compensation or reparations. So when these Negroes jumping around and we going to the Negro Black reparations, no, you're not. Negro, Black, and Color will never get no reparations. Synonymous to slave. The only people that's going to get paid for a slave is the person that created them. No Negro, no Black is going to get no reparations. And if any Negro that's a lawyer and he passed the bar, he ain't going to come on here with that B to the S, because he know he going to look me up first, and he ain't going to want to do it because he already know my competence level of defending myself in a court of law is unpregnable. Big facts. And I'm down with reparations. I tell every misnomer Negro, do you hear me dissing reparations? Hey, I'm down with reparations, smart guy, just like you. But watch this. Still, this stately restitution is only reserved from constituted governments for atrocities imposed against another recognized nation. That's why So if you're not recognized as another nation, you're not getting ready to get no reparations. Slave. I don't care how much you march. I don't care how many preachers get up there, Freemasons, and y'all collect all that money for some Black Lives Matter march. That don't mean nothing. I told y'all finna get worn to sleep. It's getting ready to happen again with this politics stuff. I told y'all, people come from other places and they be charlatans. Like I'm in tune with everything happening in the city of Flint. And some brother got on there and said, well, people don't know who the Messiah come. Don't the Messiah come from no other place? Man, fool, the Messiah come from amongst your own people. The Messiah, you know, they mom and they daddy, you ate with them. Don't no Messiah come from nowhere else. I don't give a damn if they look like you. Niggas stupid. Y'all better wake up. Y'all getting walled to sleep. You jumping behind something, and you jumping behind something that's black, destroyed. Y'all better listen to what I'm saying. The tribe and or family bearing the same free national name by design, the Negro, black, and colored, is neither of these. To avoid paying reparations to slaves and descendants of ex-slaves is the main reason for Congress of the United States writing the Section 4 into the de facto 14th Amendment, recycle being of Negro, black, and colored slaves, and put you in persons, identifications. And this amendment is nothing short of a title of ownership as assumable jurisdiction of the free nation of people brought forth by Congress in the 13th Amendment. So first, the Negro, black, and colored must be free as a people bearing one free national name. Then they will be able to claim rights, which will draw its powers from their own constituted laws and principles. And until these laws are adhered, the Negro, black, and colored will remain as chattel and without rights. They only can function under granted privileges, as demonstrated shamelessly with the 15th Voting Privileges Amendments. And this has been the existing condition since the 3/5 clause of 1779. And today's graduate lawyers of the ABA, you know, Association of the Bar Exam, will argue that the 3/5 clause and the Dred Scott decision were overruled by the 14th Amendment. And they will lose that case, as I already had the beauty to converse with them. We didn't debate because we have to deal with facts. I was able to converse. I've been in the lion's den. But when explaining how the same slave labels of Negro, black, and colored, the lawfully began in 1779, are still certified as state-owned property today. I'm telling you, there is not a rightful law on earth that can make a citizen from a mold designed to produce the shapes of property, and African Americans, etc., and so on, being another misnomer in the egg slot of slave labels, are exclusively where? Made in the Americas. And this is why privileges granted to property should never be misconstrued as being the same as true rights earned by citizens of a free national government, y'all. I hope y'all catching this. The last of the Reconstruction Amendments results from the great right of suffrage. Remember when I showed y'all American in black and white, and I showed y'all how they cut Southern Belle? That's your right to vote. Suffrage, 1870, the amendment gave guaranteed voting power to the free male Negro slave, but the Negro didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't read. It was not because America loved the slave and gave him rights as all other citizens. Contrary. You know, I told y'all, Lincoln, the South began pouring representative money, influential filibusters, lobbyists in Washington with the intent to regain dominion in the South and reinstitute slavery. That's a maneuver. The Union staged the nation's first voter registration drive, remember? In most southern states, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, remember? Ex-slaves greatly outnumbered their former masters. See, they knew this. So the 15th Amendment was created to give them the power to vote, even though 98% of them could not read. The Negro weight of the political South was used against them. That's the Trojan votes restored sovereign power to the United States, to those Union states. In short, property was used to defend itself. Did y'all catch what I just said? Citizens of the U.S. were guaranteed the right to vote in the very first article of the Constitution, remember? Article 1, Section 2, Clause 1, remember? Therefore, the 15th Amendment was purely for the purpose of pacifying a segment of civilian populace for a time. And this is why the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments are all prompted by the government to quell some form of civil unrest. And this form of government tactic, it ain't new. Due to the instability of the people, especially in a culturally diverse country like America, granted privileges are a necessary determinant to civil revolts by the whole polloi. In historical retrospect, my brothers and sisters, Rome crucified Yahshua according to their laws, not because he was guilty, but because caliphs of the Jewish Sanhedrin had threatened massive destruction to the city and Pilate's palace if their demand were not met. 1,800 years later, in almost an identical scenario, Lincoln, as executive chief and commander of the military, had to do what was best to save America. Remember what my brother said? He said, damn, I know. They don't, he said, why they don't teach this in school? Because they can't. That's why it's on me to teach it. That's why I say our dollars that we give away, we can build our own infrastructure. The same way that y'all give it to the churches and the church don't give nobody a tax exempt receipt and then you pay taxes twice. The same way that the church is $1 million operation and you can't get nothing from the church and everything is raggedy in the community. The same way. The Negro, black, and colored will perpetually remain as chattel and without rights. Always. I'm telling y'all, man. Remember I told y'all about Haram Mabith, that shallow grave, and how we can free ourselves? That shallow grave of Haram Mabith. Remember I told y'all that? A lot of people would be pissed, even when I tell my brothers that's been locked up in all this. First and foremost, it has to be proven. You can no more make a bond citizen out of a Negro. Make a Muslim eat swine during a pilgrimage in the holy city of Mecca. When you get the 1599 Geneva Bible, it said, can the leopard change its spots? Just like a Moor can't change its color. You know, balance this lawful history with the United States officially losing its sovereignty in 1871, returning to original corporate status. You got to understand this stuff. It ain't about being, oh, I got some law to be something special. It's no, understanding who you are as a people so you won't be abused. Because there's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron. You can't be a sovereign and a citizen at the same time. True constitutional governments do not have nor honor corporate courts because corporations are merely property themselves. Corporate courts cannot preside over national persons jurisdictionally. And that one, when them Negroes be saying they don't have no jurisdiction, that is not what I'm talking about. So I hope brothers understand what I'm saying and be willing to do things the right way so we can come together and learn. Because don't nobody have power over us. The only people that's been lying to us is our own brothers and sisters, our own preachers, the Freemasons, a lot of Muslims and teachers. Why? That come with the game, that woe us to sleep. And I won't teach nationality, that won't teach your race, that won't teach your status, because you're not Negro, colored, and African American, because you are white by law. I'm telling you, these are big facts. You are white by law. Black was never used to describe ethnicity in first century. None of that. And nobody never questioned none of this stuff I'm saying. And that's why I say that's why we're going to continue to go down and everybody afraid what Trump doing. What Donald Trump has done has opened up Pandora's box, y'all. I'm telling you, he has opened the Pandora box. And if you know law, if you know constitutional law, it's nothing you should be afraid of. Because the religious laws protect everything. You have the right to do these things. And the only people are afraid is slaves. Because these government mandated programs. So if the government mandated programs is giving money, what you mean? That's why we talk about picking ourselves up by our own bootstraps and using our money that we're willingly giving Uncle Sam. We divert it to our religious and charitable contribution of our choice and hold me accountable. And I give everybody a tax exempt receipt. And we build an infrastructure. We talking about in 1 year, a multi-million-dollar operation in 1 year, where our kids have something to go to after school, on the weekends, in the summer, where we showing them how to be financially smart, teaching them about the gross and net, macro, micro, showing them Wing Chun, showing them how to agriculture, showing them how to build, use their hands as brick masons, showing them how to be contractors, showing them how to get all these things while they're getting their basic education. So when they get out of high school or when they graduate out of college or whatever, they come back to the community because they know about community development and they see what's going on in our community and they can come back and have powerful positions instead of just listening to all these old farts in the pulpits and just being refurbished in politics and we think something's going to change. Nothing is going to change until we bring our right people back and we support them. All that marching is over. All that advocate, I'm an activist and on a bullhorn, all that mess mean nothing. And I'm telling y'all, a prophet and an angel come from amongst your own people. I'm not saying black or white. I'm saying from right where you are. If we are people of a certain area, you don't need nobody else to come fight for you. You need your own people in that area. You anoint someone, and the people stand behind them, and in front and in the side. And when a person have that support, only then they can come back. If not, all we're gonna do is have the same refurbished bull crap. And the same thing I've been telling y'all: follow the money, audit the auditor. People don't be listening. Audit the auditor. None of these people are educated and anointed that can do the things that we are in a position to do here at the BBT. And everybody know my dad was the director of Genesee County. I've been homeschooled. I know a lot what's going down in the city. I know how to read budgets. I know how to read job descriptions. And I know how to follow the money. And when you audit the auditor, it's over. That's why confusion happens. And then when people just be barking up at the mouth, I said, is it law? Is it conflict of interest? Let's see, pertaining to the law. Is it conflict of interest for somebody being the mayor and their wife being in the government and they sitting at the same coffee table discussing everything over dinner? Is it a conflict of interest? Is it? You tell me. You tell me, because if it is, then you can bring up things based off laws, based off precedented law cases, not how you feel. But Negroes just marching around. I don't have time to march. I don't have time to march. That's why I'll be laughing until our people from our city ready to stand for something. We're going to continue to fall for everything. We're going to continue to fall for a popularity vote. I keep telling y'all, man, we must stand up and arise. This is how we fall. I just told y'all about subjugation. I'm going to use 2 scenarios and I'm out of here because my empress ready to roll. It's her day. So, no disrespect to the brother coming from wherever he came from and up here as an activist. He was in Chicago with Tiffany Hanner, with the mayor that's everything in shackles. But what's the cause and effect, the reason why? Because that DEI stuff, we getting people in positions that shouldn't even be in position. When you look at the background of a person that want to be the mayor, that's a business. Dealing with finances, and you look at a person's background, do they have a degree in business? Have they ever run their own business? Well, do their family run a business? Have they family worked in government positions? No. So then it's probable that a lot of shit ain't gonna work unless they have an amazing team around them. So it's probable that it ain't gonna work. But what we like, ooh, they're black, so we go for it. And so I'm using an analogy again. In that city of Dalton, I think it was somewhere outside of Chicago, say if there's 1,500 people in that geographic area that's registered to vote. Might not even be registered to vote. So there you have it. I'm just fact checking myself. Half of the Negroes ain't registered to vote. But say if it's 1,500 in that area that's registered to vote that can vote for the mayor, right? And then when you see the results, they say, well, she won by a landslide. And then you see I'm using this as an analogy, and you only see 200 Negroes voted. And she win 150 to 50. What the hell you expect? And then a whole bunch of Negroes, because the internet out, they on the internet, we need people to come and help us. So then people that's opportunities, a light bulb come on, way to make dollar. I'm an activist. Boom, I can come to a city to where the only way that something can be done is the people that's in the city, you need to register to vote and deal with the law and policy, ask them people what's the agenda, and then y'all vote right. It ain't nothing else to be done. That's all that person got to do. All the extra stuff is smoke and mirrors. All the extra stuff is bullshit. I'm going to say it like that. Because I deal with results. I ain't got time to be playing the game. I ain't got time to be having the people all emotional and they want to do something to a man and his wife. That's some stupid shit. And a lot of people went to school with that man. I know my parents know him. My mama know him. They went to school with him. But they all say, well, we know about a person's intelligence and character, but y'all the one voted for things. And this is what I be telling people. You got to know what's happening. But Negroes, they only do things off emotion. You don't need, well, somebody said this person coming as an activist. And they always try to use that stupid God theory. Well, they didn't know who Jesus was. Yes, they did. The people knew a prophet and an angel come from amongst your people. Everybody recognized. What are you talking about? A prophet and an angel come from amongst your own people. You know their mama, their daddy. You know their background. They grew up with you. Can that prophet and angel reach people? But you don't need nobody from somewhere else to talk about your city, because all what's going to happen if you are activist. Peace, noble Dantes. If you are activist, come on, let's deal with the results. It won't take me that long to deal with results. I say, let's see the demographics of people in this area. Just like my city of Flint. And they say the mayor ain't no good. Okay, when is the next vote for the mayor? Okay, let's see how many people in the city of Flint that's registered to vote. Boom. Okay, so now let's see how many people voted last year and the year before for this person. Damn, it's this amount of people. It's X amount of people in the city of Flint, and only this amount of people voted. Shut up talking to me. That's the solution. Are the people voting? Are the people going to the city hall? Or after everything is over, you crying like a dog, which Negroes do. And then when a person say, put the tape in, and then you going down there and say, I voted for them, but I didn't know. Yeah, because you vote for people you like. You ain't voting for people that have the skills. So it's a popularity contest, like I tell Negroes. It's a popularity contest. And the same thing that happened in Dalton with the lady, Tiffany Hanner, and with my man as the activist, it's the same thing. People need to vote. And in Dalton, I look at the stats. Let's see the solution. Niggers didn't vote. Excuse my candor. They didn't vote. The people in the city that was registered to vote, they didn't vote. And she won. That's how she won. Point blank. That's how she won. And then after the fact, people that don't participate in something, I call those spectators or lotterers. Then them Negroes get up with signs and petitioning. But then you ask them Negroes, did they vote? Are they registered to vote? No. So you have no power in your community. I've been telling these Negroes, they be walking around, yep, I voted for the president. So you ain't vote local, state. You ain't vote for the governor. You ain't vote for the police chief. You ain't vote for the sergeant. You ain't vote for none of that. Y'all see what I be saying? But we deal with these people because we get with that DEI stuff, that color stuff, and Negroes that's just street rogues that don't know about policy and law. They can get you with that, well, they ain't recognize Jesus. This ain't got nothing to do with Jesus, boy. This got to do with a people that's being led by their own people to the ground, that don't know about law and policy, because everybody's saying, well, is it a conflict of interest for the mayor and his wife, for the mayor to be the mayor and his wife to be in Congress or somewhere in Congress? Is it? Is it? I know the law. A lot of people don't know. So if it is, then what? I know a lot of people is getting paid just to sit on boards and they shuffle money. And being in the city council, and it's the next day for city going to the governor's office. And I know how to follow the money. All you got to do is audit. All you got to do is run an audit. It's over. I'm telling you. And then this how the city of Flint is so wasteful. You got a person in a job, and so instead of the city firing the idiot and getting the right person, they'll go get a special manager to manage something. But you got, here it is, your goofy ass paying somebody in a position, instead of firing their retardo, fardo self, you keep them in office and hire somebody and say they're going to be a special ambassador. What? That's just some high name word to a scamming, or they a contractor. Scam. Because if you can't do the job, either get your ass out of office, excuse myself, or excuse my candor, and get somebody in position. It's a waste of money. It's mismanagement. It's a popularity vote. And y'all know I'm telling y'all the truth. This happens in the urban community because that DEI stuff, and we dealing with people that's unqualified instead of bringing our people that's qualified with this, because we know it's going to expose so much stuff. And everybody knows all you got to do is audit the auditor. And if people really cared about what's going on, the people vote. The city of Flint don't have that many people. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. A person can win the mayor's office easy. A person can win city council position easy. Y'all know this. But it's the people voting. So like I said, I told my people I'm coming back. And we can put our dollars together. I hope my family continue to support us and we get our brick and mortar so we can have our temple and school, something we can go to. But I ain't one of the homeboys. I'm coming to change things and bring my people that's my age that have the same mission as me, that let's go change the things. Let's go to the city hall. Let's stop being on the sideline. Let's create our own podcasts. Let's be the voice. If we are the city, let's do things the right way. Because this money in the city is being mismanaged. I can show y'all. Man, each year the city of Flint, they got a budget. I read the budget. I show y'all where the money being gone, mismanaged. Let me tell y'all something about the roads. They had X amount of millions of dollars. to fix the roads. So watch this. This how I know. I read the budget. Here go the dude. He get into City Hall. He said, well, what happened to the money? Well, we used it. Well, the streets ain't fixed. Yeah, we used it. We ran out of money. But you said in the contract that you was enough money to do the work. Well, it ain't true. Fuck you mean it ain't? So now you got to get more money to do the work that somebody already agreed that it was enough to do the work. So now more mismanagement. I'm telling you, you audit the auditor. No way a person can take a contract and sign a contract and say, I can do this job for these X amount of dollars and doing it this time. And when it's over, the job is not done and say, well, I used the money, but it's not enough. Man, get out of here. Get out of here. But in an area where it's a lot of black people that don't understand nothing, it's confusion. That don't understand business and don't understand policy and know how to read budget, what we do. We love people. Let me tell y'all what I saw these Negroes doing at the City Hall, Noble, Dantes the other day. Out of all the stuff going on with the mayor, once you had the dude that's an activist put a damn casket in front of the mayor's house, all these misnomer black people, Empress and she finna laugh, was in the front of the freaking City Hall where them fans at. Where them fans at? Where them fans at? With my boots on the ground in front of the City Hall. And then this is what Negroes say. But we showing them that we ain't phased or nothing. Man, y'all niggas stupid. That's some stupid shit. What is that proving? In front of the City Hall, a whole bunch of Negroes went and bought some fans. Cowboy hat boot. Where them fans at? That's what they say. Negroes shuck and freaking jive. A whole bunch of sorority, goofy black people. That's what I'm saying. That's why they don't take nothing serious in the city of Flint. That's why they don't take nothing serious after my man Hayes died. What did these Negroes do that didn't respect him? Put his name on the fucking senior center. The mockery of things. That's what I be telling Negroes. It's all pageantry. What a money. What's going on? Everything raggedy as hell in the city of Flint. And you got a whole bunch of preachers that can't get along. You got a damn church on every corner. All them Negroes went to school together. We talk about politics. They don't want to tell the truth about no politics. I just gave the answer right there. How many people voted? What's the population in the city, in each ward that makes up the city? How many people voted? There go the answer right there. How many people registered? So all these people that made these podcasts, all these people that saying it's not, did you vote? If you didn't vote, you can't say shit. You might as well sit down. You are an agitator. And that's what Negroes do. Why? I ain't voting. It don't mean nothing. I ain't voting. Oh, so you'll vote for the presidency, but you won't vote locally? That's what these, did you vote for the councilman? No. Did you vote for the mayor? No. Did you vote for the police chief? No. The judge? No. None of that. But when the city being ran, no matter if you say it's good or bad, because it's two sides to everything. Some people say you're doing all right. Who? Those that's getting their little change. If there's some that's saying they're not right. So now we got to get to the medium. Let's deal with the law and the facts and remove emotion. Once you do that, then what? And the misnomer black people is not willing to do that. It's a shit show. Anybody on here go look at go on M Live and pull that stuff up and see the city council meetings and see what I'm saying. So as I close, man, we need to know who we are religiously, spiritually, historically. That's the only way we're going to do something. In our communities, we got to have our own people in position. And maybe we got to support somebody and bring them back and say, hey, wait a minute. Our spiritualness need to be brought up. And then we need to know what's going on in the community so we can have a fight. And until then, we'll never have nothing, y'all. We're going to have these old people that's being refurbished, that's been mayors before, that's coming back, and they're going to be mayors again. It's just a job to some of these people. Why? Because power to the people. Y'all paying y'all taxes and nothing happening. So if that's the case, let's revert them to something. Let's use some of our money that we're giving away, and you see nothing is happening in our communities, and let's do something ourselves and see how we can build our infrastructure and buy houses and bring our single moms and our seniors and our brothers and sisters back in our community and make a religious community. I love y'all, man. Peace, love, and illumination.